I've been using the internet since 1997. Prior to 1997, I didn't really know what the internet was capable of doing, and it really wasn't part of my life. Growing up in the 90s, the internet was really kind of an afterthought. It wasn't integrated into daily life in any way. Um, as a high school or as a middle school student, we had very little exposure to the internet, and what little internet we had consisted mainly of text and low-resolution images, GIF files. If we had internet access at home, it was a privilege, not a right. And school was written, or school curricula, is curricula a word? I should Google that. But I couldn't Google that in 1998. I could now. But anyway, I digress. The internet was a completely different animal. It was a means of gathering information and not much else, and communicating to people all over the globe. It was kind of the natural progression of ham radio, only you didn't need a license. You just needed to pay out, in my case, $25 a month for 33.6 kilobits per second. Yeah, I know. It sounds as bad as it was. But the internet wasn't really that bad, because web pages were designed with simplicity and speed in mind. It wasn't until broadband started to saturate the market, it wasn't until then that web pages started featuring streaming video and heavy animation. Well, around that time period, we're talking late 90s, turn of the century period, Y2K, Internet ready was still a buzzword in the computer sales business. When you went to buy a computer, it wasn't always internet ready. It had to be equipped with a fast enough processor, enough memory, and the all-important modem. Modems were still optional. And from this from the consumer confusion over internet ready versus internet incapable or internet prepped, and the overall cost of computers. I mean, a simple desktop PC in 1998 could easily run you more than $1,500. So, in order to grow the internet user base and to sell more equipment, computer companies started to release products that were geared towards entry-level consumers, entry-level computer customers, I should say, and with the sole purpose of getting them on the internet. Dell kind of did, alright, I'll start off with Microsoft. Microsoft in the mid-90s came out with a product called the Web TV. The Web TV was an appliance that hooked up to your television set. It featured a QWERTY keyboard that was wireless, and I believe what did it use for a pointing device? I don't think it even had one. It may have used some form of mouse. But it primarily featured a keyboard. Oh, I think it had a control pad, like a thumb pad you could move the cursor around with. But the Web TV was exactly what it sounded like. It was an internet product designed to allow you to check email, go to some websites. It really wasn't that capable. I don't even think it had a word processor built in, but it may have had some limited form of word processor. The Web TV was a very limited device, and because of the resolution of televisions back then, it sucked in every way imaginable. Could you imagine typing an email on a 480i television screen? Yeah, I know. It sounds awful, and it was. There were also mail stations, and in fact I have one in my office. I left it up in the ceiling about 8 years ago. It's still there, but new in the box, a mail station. A mail station was designed to give people email access without a computer, because, again, computers were costly devices, and they were still quite unreliable. So as products and companies progressed into the late 90s, and the internet was becoming more and more of a marketing tool and more of a way to generate revenue from customers, companies like Dell, E-Machines, I think even Gateway had something like this. By the way, Gateway was relevant then. Gateway was actually one of the top PC makers in the late 90s. Today they barely exist. They started creating computers using older technology or less advanced technology, because remember, as technology marches forward, there are less expensive older products that are still capable of being manufactured at a low cost, and that allows them to create devices that are practically free. The whole point was they wanted to create inexpensive computers for the masses. Apple did this with the iMac. The iMac was designed primarily to be an internet terminal. That was its primary function, and to get computers into households that didn't already have one. The Dell WebPC that you see right here is one of those devices. This is Dell's answer to the iMac, as sad and ugly as it is. But isn't it so cute? It is a mini tower with very little expansion capabilities. It runs an Intel Celeron. I think it's a 466 or something. It's one of the slowest Celerons they ever made. It actually has an optical drive, but it has no PCI expansion slots of any kind. It's a very limited device as far as what it can be used for as it ages. But it is one of those products that was created as a way of getting people hooked, literally and figuratively, onto the internet. The specs that I found on this, they're pretty slim. I believe it has around 32 megs of RAM. It runs Windows 98. It features a VGA display adapter. It only features legacy ports. This is actually one of the first legacy-free computers, meaning it doesn't have any parallel or serial or USB interfaces of any kind. It simply has 3 USB ports and a built-in 56K modem, and that is it. In fact, there are no USB ports up front. It's really as cheap as they come. I don't know if this machine works. I haven't tested it yet, but we're going to see it in action in just a few minutes. But first, I want to take it apart and make sure it's all there. I know it has a 4 gig hard drive. So getting back to those inexpensive consumer entry-level computers that were so pervasive around the turn of the century. Well, that was easy. Falling apart. Anyway, I should reference the E-Machines E1. I remember when that was a new product. The E1 was an iMac lookalike, which E-Machines was actually sued over. So if you ever find one, they're very rare. And they're very rare in working condition. Because remember, E-Machines was building crap. And the E1 was no exception. So this is the basic system unit. We've got a laptop optical drive with an IDE interface. Looks like it's bus powered. I don't see a power cable anywhere, so that must be bus powered. Manufactured November of '99, so this was made just in time for the Y2K hype. Oh, that was another one. The Y2K hype. That's a good one to look into. So, it looks like the motherboard is mounted on a tray that slides out. I don't see a removable cover here. So let's go ahead and pop this off. It has a very, very small power supply built in. Condition-wise, this is really not in good cosmetic condition. So as a collector's item, I don't think it would be worth very much, if anything at all. I think we have to take the faceplate off. Let's see. This is actually the first one I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen another one. And I hope I never do see another one. Because it's really a real piece of junk. Alright, I'm going to pop the CD drive so I can get the face. So here's the optical drive. Kind of chunky. But hey. It's drawers held in. Usually these are just clipped on. Let's see if we can't discombobulate it. Not really sure how to do that. Anyway, I should be able to get the front cover off at least at this point. Just by pulling these tabs. I do remember, though, there was a tornado, hurricane, or something, an earthquake, that's what it was, in Taiwan, and suddenly memory prices started skyrocketing. And this was like probably 2001, 2002. And yeah, it was a big deal. The price of computers was starting to go down, and then this earthquake happened, and memory went through the roof. Price-wise, it was bad. It was so bad. Because at the time, I was building a computer, and I couldn't afford to put memory in this son of a bitch. So I had to settle for like 32 megs. That's all I could afford. Oh man, dark times, dark times. Alright, I gotta get this damn optical drive out. Oh, I found the screw for that. There it is. Just take the screw off. And I bet the whole thing slides forward. Yeah, I bet it does. 1999. That was a good year. What was I running back then? I think in 99 I had a my primary computer was a Tandy 3100 at the time. Yep, that's what it was. Alright, I'm going to try to slide this whole thing forward here. Or back, forward. It should go forward. No, huh? No. I guess not. Alright, well. I wonder if they did it. Normally if it's mounted to a sled, like this, it's for a reason. Well, anyway, we'll deal with that later. Let's get the case split first. Shouldn't be too difficult. Okay. Yeah, that whole assembly should slide forward. It's actually notched for that purpose. So what do we have in here? Well, we have... I don't know what size that is. PC 100, 222, 620. Got probably 64 or 32 megs of RAM. It's got a PCI, mini PCI, micro PCI modem right there. Looks like a pretty stripped down motherboard to me. There's your processor. Looks upgradable. Power supply, CPU fan, and a 4.3 gig Seagate hard drive. Not bad. On the surface, it looks like a pretty decent little machine. And you could actually pop a USB Ethernet adapter in here if you wanted to. As long as it was Windows 98 compatible, or you could just run a different OS on it. That's cool. So now we see the inside. I mean, quality-wise, it really isn't bad. I mean, they even rubber-mounted the hard drive. It's really not something I would expect. By the way, this computer cost $1,000. And I believe that may have included a monitor as well. $1,000, and you get all this. But at the time, it probably seemed like a bargain. It probably was a bargain. It's nothing I would have bought, but... seriously. Buy the worst computer on the planet for $1,000. I can't get this optical drive off. There is something hanging it up. I don't know what. Maybe it needs a good pry job. That could be it. But it's not really worth it at this time, so we're going to leave it alone. Alright, next step. We're going to put it back together and we're going to fire it up and see what happens. I don't even know if it works, but we're going to... Okay, we're going to fire this sucker up. By the way, this is an equally old compact flat panel monitor that kind of works. But anyway, here we go. Look at that. It's trying to resize. There it goes. Got this brand new Dell keyboard and mouse. Very low quality, I gotta say. I'm a little shocked. Oh boy. Looks like the hard drive has been erased or has failed. That's it. Oh, you know what? We're not going to end it that way. No. We're going to try to put something on it. Let's see if I can get Windows 98 on it. Oh, that's the help button. If you press this button, it's supposed to launch a help application, but we don't have that software anymore, so the button does nothing. Let's do an F1, F2 kind of. I forget whether Dell is F1 or 2 or delete or escape or whatever. Yeah. Just gotta cover all my bases. Oops. Too many times. Doesn't like that. Hehehe. It's as easy as Dell. I'll admit, Dell's made some decent products over the years. I think before Capacitor Gate, I think their products were pretty well done. You know, especially the old Dell Optiplex and Inspiron series. I've got a Power Edge sitting on my desk at work that I've been using for, hell, 5 years. Well, I should rephrase that. The server actually was in active use for almost 10 years, and I took it over and turned it into an imaging server, and it's been running ever since. So, yeah, some of their stuff is pretty decent. Come on, boot up. I did select CD-ROM, right? I want to get this into BIOS. It should be delete, I think. Get into BIOS. I don't remember what the key command was for Dell. There it is. I just want to see what it is. We've got a Celeron 433, so I was close. 64 megs of RAM. Again, I was pretty damn close there. And let's see if the hard drive is even detected. The hard drive is not detected. Well, that might be a problem. Okay. Let's try detecting it. It should actually say something there. Yeah. Auto user none. Let's try user. Okay. Doesn't let me actually. I think the drive is bad. It's not coming up with anything. It should be coming up with the make and model of the drive, but it's not. So I think that might be a problem. drive is dead, I'm not going to bother going any further with it, so hope that doesn't upset you guys. Yeah, that might be a problem. Well then. Oh, here we go. CD, IDE, HDD, okay, F10 exit. No, I don't want. There we go. Let's see what happens. Yeah, let me look at the case. It's actually a very sleek case for 1999. Very futuristic. Very futuristic. Okay. There an auto adjust. There. It's really looking for the internal hard drive right now. While it looks, let's say hi to Mr. and Mrs. Frog. Oh, there you are. Look at you. They don't do anything. They just sort of sit there. Pretty much. Stare at the walls. And freak out. And make bubbles. How's our friend the computer doing? Yeah, I think it's looking for the hard drive and it's going to time out pretty soon. So. I mean, the hard drive doesn't sound bad. It's just spinning away, and when it does do an access or seek, it doesn't sound like it's failing or anything. It just doesn't want to work. So I think we're pretty much toast. Well, thanks for watching. Sorry this